Hello, my name is Jason Niemeyer. I'm sure you've all enjoyed watching my Photoshop tutorials on YouTube. We've talked about that and Wacom tablets. And yes, it is pronounced Wacom. Not Wacom, not Wacom, most definitely Wacom. And they make awesome products. I used to own the Wacom Intous 3 series tablet. I got the large one, the 19-inch version, largely not because I had a huge display, but because I used 3 monitors. All 3 of my monitors are hooked to a triple matrix system, so they're all linked together. I can show you this by just simply moving this record entity for the Camtasia video recording software around on the 3 screens. As you can see, it just acts like one giant display. I love that. It works well for me. On the first screen, I have my Photoshop software. The second screen, I keep all of the palettes in vertical columns all linked together. I don't know if you realize you could do that in Photoshop, but you can. You can link your palettes together so they just stay in vertical columns. Very handy. This is an old version of Photoshop, but it works great on my old design studio, and because I'm an old designer. It's Photoshop CS2, and it works great. What I really wanted to talk to you about today was the new Wacom Intous 4 tablet. I'm not going to go into a lot of its bells and whistles and features because the Wacom website does a fine job of showing you all those cool features. The fact that it's ambidextrous, you can flip it around, put the USB cord on the top, it's got 2 places for that. It doesn't have the old lift screen like the other tablets had. I never used that feature, but I suppose you could use it for tracing or whatnot. This area is replaceable. If it becomes scratched or damaged, you can get new inserts for that, but it doesn't come off. It's not something user changeable, readily. So you probably have to send it in and have those put on there, I guess. I don't know. I've never messed with it yet, but comes with the standard pen tool. Pretty nice product. Eraser. Comes with some colored rings that come in here. This one's red now, and a variety of nibs. What's really cool is they've changed the base and made that a nib holder. But again, I'm kind of rehashing everything that's already on the Wacom website. What isn't on the Wacom website, though, is much information about this little gem right here. This is the Wacom Airbrush tool. Now, I've wanted to get one of these. Nothing new here, really. This technology was out with the Intous 3 series tablets, and I wanted to get one then, but I never did, and I am kicking myself. I got this one with this tablet. No, it didn't come with it. I bought it as an extra add-on just so I could play with it and see what it would do, because I'm an old airbrush artist myself. I used to do motorcycles and helmets and tanks and trucks and stuff like that, too. I love them. They're an excellent tool, and I was hoping this one would be just like a real one. But it had some shortcomings, and I was a little disappointed at first, but not anymore. When I first took it out of the package and started using it with Photoshop, I couldn't get any of the wheels or any of the features to work until I started reading on the Wacom website one very important sentence. And that sentence was something with regard to being software supportive. If you are going to use the airbrush tool, you have to make sure that your software that you're using it in will support this kind of a product, and that you can go in and make those adjustments. Photoshop does. Clear back to CS2, they had this ability. So how do you make it work? That's what I'm here for. I'm going to show you how to program this in Photoshop so it will work exactly the way you want it to. I'm going to put it back in the holder. Incidentally, it doesn't come with the new holder. It does come with nibs, but it doesn't come with the new nib holder. Go figure. I ain't got that figured out yet. I just put the nibs in one of those Listerine breath strip things, holders, and they're in there, and yeah, that works great. Anyways, let me use the handy-dandy mouse that also comes with the tablet and direct you up here to the brushes dialog box. Two menus up here we need to concern ourselves with: Shape Dynamics and Other Dynamics. Shape Dynamics is also adjustable with the wheel on the brush, on the airbrush. So you can pull this menu down and come down here and put Shape Dynamics on the status wheel if you want. My goal here was to get the airbrush to operate just like a real airbrush in Photoshop. So I kept that control on pen pressure with the tablet. So the harder you push on the tablet, the bigger round the pen gets. But moreover, I decided that I really don't like that feature as well, because the new tablet comes with a wheel dial on it that will allow you to adjust your pen diameter right on the fly as you're in your work. So you really don't need that anymore. So in all honesty, I keep that one shut off, unless I really need the feature on. The main one we want to concern ourselves with here is other dynamics. Double click that one. This menu pulls out, turn the flow jitter down here to stylus wheel. And once you've done that, all kinds of new doors will open for you. Bring our attention back over here to this Art Deco image, kind of 1980s style, reminiscent of the late Patrick Nagel's work, where he used a lot of different shadows in whites and grays in human faces. It's a very this is my own painting, of course, just borrowing his style, which is not copyrighted, of course. Basically, when doing an image like this, I would have in the past just chose a lot of different gray shades, going into my palette, get a different gray shade, go into my palette, get a different gray shade, until I got a Wacom tablet, and that changed all that. But I started using black like you would in a real airbrush, and just controlling the flow. But I'd actually control it by adjusting the opacity slider up here until I bought this new airbrush tool. Now with our other dynamics over here converted over to the stylus wheel, you can see this pattern that it does, just like a real airbrush. When you're pulling back the trigger, you go from light to dark as you're using it. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. I'm going to put a couple of shadows in here alongside the nose, and that way you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Real gently, just some subtle shadows in here. And we can kind of add a couple down in here along under the neck, beside here. And we want to add a little bit of shadow along the hairline right here. And here's what's really cool. I'm going to change colors on you. I'm going to come up here and grab this sort of pinkish magenta color. And as you can see now that I'm working along, and I can just adjust the size of the brush at will. And we'll add a little color in here above her eyes, like a little cool punk eyeshadow. Just that quick and clean. That's what I like about it. I'm going to grab the eyedropper tool and go back to black. I like to select my colors like that. Grab the brush tool again, and again we can change these brush sizes at will. We're going to add a little bit more dark. I'm going to pull back on the wheel, a little bit more black in here like it's farther away, a little more shadow in there. Again, we'll adjust the brush size so we can get right where we need to go, and add a little bit more dark coming around here. And we'll get the brush bigger and pull forward on the wheel, a little less color. All kinds of control at 2 fingertips. Brush size on my left finger, opacity on my right fingertip. Everything's right at the fingertips here. This is just like using a real airbrush. You will love it. The thing about using a real airbrush is you never touch the surface with what you're airbrushing because you'd scratch it. So I put that spring-loaded nib in the airbrush here. It's got a little bit of spring to it. It's kind of spongy, so when you're on the surface here, you don't really feel like you're touching the surface. It really feels like a real airbrush. Again, remember, shape dynamics, other dynamics. That's what you need to do. Mostly just other dynamics. But shape dynamics is kind of fun too. Either one of those two will make the adjustments you need to get your airbrush tool to work. They will also work in shape dynamics and stuff. You can adjust to use the pressure sensitivity aspect with your regular stylus, so don't forget that. If you're the kind of person that likes to work in the dark, I am. I love working in the dark. I recommend the Sciatic backlit keyboards too. Comes in 3 colors: blue, red, lavender. I kind of like the red. Kind of like Navy submarine guys use that red, you know, when they have those low light conditions on there. Red really enhances your vision in low light. It's kind of interesting. The Navy's known that for years. It works. So use red when you got the lights off. You can really see great. They're laser etched keys, so the letters actually light up in addition to each key being slightly halo lit. So it's not blindingly bright, but it also has a knob, a dimmer switch on it. So a cool product from Sciatic too. I like that stuff. Awesome. Stay tuned for more cool products. I'm Jason Niemeyer, and we'll be right back.